everybody. Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope they're doing better than some people I've just heard about. Anyways, tonight I brought my one of the channel's favorite guests back, Mr. Lyle Hopson, who has 490 boxes of comic books.
Not yet, but it's getting close.
every time I turn around, Lyle is adding to this collection, and quite simply, I have to think, okay, so he's got another 600 books to show. So let's get him on and see what we can see out of the collection.
Yeah, it's getting up there. 358.
358. Wow. What did you pick up at your last trip?
It was that excursion I did, there was a whole slew, a short box of stuff I showed on Alan's show a couple of Fridays ago. And some stuff that I'm going to show tonight was also in there, and just a variety of stuff. So yeah, that's
awesome. So before we get going too far here, let's take a moment and say hello to everybody that showed up. Hello to everybody that showed up. We've got the first person was Robbie tonight. Hi, Robbie. We've got Kay Munin. Hi, Andreas. And we've got Steven, Collecto6. How are you? And we have Bub's World. Hi, Bub. How are you? So that's how we've got tonight in the chat at the moment. So why don't we sit back and tell us about your last trip somewhere? Your last trip.
So my last trip, I picked up some stuff that you were wanting to see that I redug out. And I've got some stuff here that I picked up in the last couple of days. And this other pile here, Richard Cumley, who was known for writing Captain Canuck in the 1975 comics. He was at our LCS a few weeks ago and signed a bunch of comic books, which I'm going to show tonight. And to answer Robbie Joseph's or Kay Munin's question, that my goal was 500 boxes. That just happens. I'm not really counting, and then until I get home with 14 or 15 long boxes, and then I have to do a big job.
Before we get much further, we want to say hello. Thank you very much to Collecto6. Steven has given us a super chat. So why don't we, before we keep going, let's give Steven our little song. Give me some money. Give me some money. Who doesn't love Spinal Tap, eh?
I like that.
And just before we get going, welcome to Splash Page. Good to see you tonight. All right, Lyle, I'm going to make you big.
Woo.
And let's see what you got for us tonight.
All right. Well, I'm going to show you a few things. And I was showing Matt earlier. I went to a yard sale. There's lots of them happening here all over the place now that the nice weather is here. And this is a magazine. It's called The Rampaging Hulk, number 5 from 1977.
That is very nice.
They're hard to find in good condition. Usually,
I want that one because Son of Satan is on it.
Oh, you have this one?
No, I want it though.
Well, here, I'll put it aside. And the
other one, I'm not asking you to give it to me, but maybe we could negotiate.
Oh, for sure. And the other one was a Rampaging Hulk number 6 from 1977.
Very nice.
I mean,
and that's got Namor on it, so that should go to Lettuce.
And these I got for about $11 a piece. I tried to get them for like $8 or $9, and the guy wouldn't budge. But because they're in such great shape, I mean, why would I, complain?
Oh, those are beautiful.
And then there was the special issue of the Hulk. This one was number 19 from 1980. This one was I've had a couple of these issues, but they're getting harder and harder to find.
Well, considering that it's Marvel's, it says right on the cover, Marvel's TV sensation.
Yeah,
you would think there'd be more copies out there because the Hulk was a reasonably popular TV show.
Right. And with this one, I think when Lou Ferrigno did it, it was 1979. This was 1980, so
Right.
close to that, right? And then another one of the Rampaging Hulk. This was number 9 from 1978.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a couple of copies of this, but this one was was not too bad a condition, so I figured I'd pick it up. And this one, I think this one was $8 or $9 as well. They weren't all $10 and $11 a piece. That's Canadian now, not US.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which makes it a lot easier. So let's take a second before we get to the next one to say hi to Silver Spidey and Comic Mike for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
You got a lot of new people.
Yeah, actually, Bub's World has been here before, and
Cool.
I know Splash Page is Monty. He's the one that's always on with Bleecker. But
and Archivist, yes, the insides of those magazines are in black and white interiors. Now, this one here was a Wizard magazine from it was number 191 from 2007.
Nice. Alex Ross. Gotta love that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And again, trying to find these in half decent shape is getting harder to find all the time. And this one here is another magazine called Comics Feature. And it was number 49 from 1986. I'm sure you've seen these before.
Yeah, and that, of course, is the Dark Knight Returns, eh?
That's right. And then the other one, another comics feature, was let's see here, number 36 from 1985.
Secret Wars 2. Wow. And Wolverine, you can
there.
tell at this time Wolverine was starting to begin his ascent as one of the favorites.
Yeah.
The fact that he's like big on there and Captain America's down in the little corner.
And these two were $6 a piece. So can't complain. Nice. And I don't like. I'll show you one more, and then the other two that are here, you might have to shed some light on them because what I can find online is it's iffy at best. But this one here was a collector's edition of Fantastic Films. This was from February of 1980.
Wow, we have a question here. Yes. Robbie Josephs wants to know how long you've been collecting.
I've been collecting since 1968, give or take. And of course, growing up in northern Quebec, the English literature at that time was hard to find because they were all focused on the French, and because I had relatives that lived in Ontario and some in Greenwich, New York. When they came to visit, they would bring stuff up, and an accumulation of comics at that time. And then I think in the early 70s, mid 70s, we were starting to get a little bit more English literature. It wasn't so bad. If you can go to like a PX or whatever, then you could get them. But if you went to a corner store and looking for English comic books, they kind of frowned upon that. And this one here was I only paid $5 for this one because the seller said to me, well, who likes Star Trek? Everybody's into Star Wars. I'm like, well, I'll buy it.
Adrift is asking if it's Star Trek the motion picture.
Yes, it is Star Trek the motion picture. Yes, because this one was February 1980, and that came out in 79.
Yeah, and it wasn't a summer movie either. I think it was a fall movie.
Right. So this one was issue 14 from 1980. So these other ones, Matt, you might know a little bit more about them than I do because you're probably from that generation. But these were Nintendo magazines, and this one was issue 48 from 1993.
Very nice. Comic Mike has a question. How long did you live in Quebec, Lyle?
Well, I was in Quebec from 1960 until we moved out west in 1976, 77. And we had to leave because, at that time, if you had an English last name, my dad had a hard time to find work. So we moved to British Columbia. And then my dad was able to get work. You got 5 kids in the family, you got to get work. So I've been out here ever since. And I moved out here in the 70s because I was, I wasn't very old. And then I I went back to northern Quebec in the early 80s, and then I moved back to BC in 1990, and I've been out here ever since. How do I keep finding these deals, Came Union? A lot of driving around and going to all the antique shops and secondhand stores that people have forgotten about that hardly ever visit. I walk in and ask them if they have comic books or magazines, and they point to the back of a dusty room, and that's where I find all this stuff.
Well, that sounds exactly like Mike from Lunch Money Comics always says.
Yeah.
You are like probably his best proof of how it works.
And you know, a lot, like I've said this before, and I'm sure everybody in the chat is aware of this as well. It's not just me and my area. A lot of the baby boomers are passing away, and you know, one from 44 to 64, I'm in that bracket. A lot of them are going, and their families, I found, have no idea about comic books or magazines. They just want to get rid of it. So when I can go to an estate sale, like I did the last one, that was, you know, family oriented, because they got there long before I did, and they went through that box like the Tasmanian devil. They went through it, and whatever was left is what I picked up, and I was there when it started. So yeah, so this one here was from 1993. I don't know much about these. I don't know if they're collectible or not, but I know $1.50, maybe $2 for these is what I picked up, what I paid for them. And the other one's also another Nintendo Power magazine. This one is number 45 from 1993.
Nice.
I know, just a couple of bucks, and because the sellers would say to me, "Well, if you don't pick up, you know, if you don't buy the whole box, no, we're just going to throw it out." Well, I'll figure out if it's worth anything when I get home, and if it's only for a couple of dollars, I'll pick it up. That's what I do.
Exactly. It's better to. We got a comment here. Drift says there's a lot of French who lived in Rhode Island, and they had a hard time renting.
Right. Yeah, it was bad when we moved out here because, you know, at that time, when the English and the French were fighting, and Quebec wanted to separate, and it's just a big mess. And my dad didn't want us children to be raised like that or hating people. So we moved out here, and my folks are still around. My dad just celebrated his 89th birthday a few days ago. And they've been back for visits because we have uncles and aunts. Well, not anymore, but at that time we did, and we'd go and visit every 4 or 5 years and come back, because 3,000-mile drive or 6,000 miles return, it wasn't cheap.
So yeah, it took a long time too. Hi, Chonko.
Right, it would take 3 days and 2 nights to get there. So from where I'm at, anyway, I'm in the central part of British Columbia. So I showed this book on Alan's show on Friday, but I'm going to show it again, and because this one here with the bullet hole, there's a few variants of these. One of them was polybag, and it had writing on the cover, and then there was another one that didn't have any trade dress whatsoever.
That's beautiful. I think the Protectors are going to be one of the series I do next. And
then I was asked to bring this one back on the show, because this one I also picked up in that estate sale was the Protectors number 2 from 1992. But when I saw the back cover, I said, "Oh, I know who's going to like that. It's not going to be anybody that says scoff." But other than that, I figured, well, Matt will like this. I'll change the bag out and I'll have a look. So when
Matt does really like that.
When I was looking at it the other day, I opened it out to change the bag because the bag was in bad shape. But on the inside of the back cover, it shows Spawn. It must be it's just interesting. It doesn't make the book any more expensive. It's just great.
But it's an interesting thing. I've always found the ads and the column, like the Meanwhile column or Stan's Soapbox. I've always found them interesting because they talk about what's coming up in that era and in that like month or whatever. And I've always thought this is cool. Like I read them like crazy when I was a kid because ooh, this is how you know something's coming out that you want to go and get, because that was our internet.
Well, that's right. And to answer K Munin, no, I didn't burn it because I was, I see you guys comment all the time. I don't know what you look like, but if I ever got your mailing address, I'm sure I would send them all to you, seeing how much you love them. So the other day, I
just hilarious. Poor K Munin.
So I picked this up on my LCS the other day. Have you, Matt?
I have. That's what, issue 11?
This is issue 11. Yes.
Yeah, I have that one.
Okay,
you have
perfect.
a different cover than I do.
It was. I haven't read it yet. That's what I'm going to be doing tonight.
Yeah, that one is about to end because it was going to only be ever 12 issues, and it's kind of sad because it's gotten better as the series went on.
Also, in that estate sale that I didn't show on Friday, and there was a couple of Fridays, but there was a long box. It's going to take a while to go through. There was also this comic book. I don't know much about it, but I thought I'd show it today.
Infinity. Well, that's got Steele and his daughter his niece on the cover. I don't know much about that title, but I do know that that is probably one of the earliest appearances of Natasha
from 07. And that was number 1, and this one is number 4. I don't have number 2 or 3. That was the only one that was in that estate sale.
Yeah, those are pretty cool covers. Can you tell me who the creators are there? Can you just read them?
Peter Milligan, Max Fiumara, Matthew Southworth, and Stefano Godiano.
Very, very cool.
I don't know if you can see it there.
Mulligan would have been the writer, and he does have a touch about knowing these characters. So,
and the other one, this one here is number 5.
Very cool.
But that was the only ones that were in that box of.
We've had another super chat.
Oh wow!
Yep. So let's do the little song.
I have a station identification.
Give me some money. Give me some money.
All right. I really need more. I really need more of this stuff because it's just.
So I was at my LCS a few weeks ago, and Richard Cumley, who wrote Captain Canuck in 1975, happened to be there, and he signed a stack of Captain Canuck comics. And when I went in, and that was the first thing they said to me, "Oh, Lyle, Richard Cumley was in here, and he signed a bunch of comic books." He said, "Would you like to buy them?" I said, "Well, how many is there?" He said, "Well, there's a big stack." And so the price was between $200 and $300 Canadian. So I bought the whole work. So when I went back a few weeks later to buy my usual books of Batman or detective, the manager of my LCS, he said, "Oh, by the way," he said, there was some other stuff that they wanted us to keep, but the owner said he didn't want it. So I ended up getting Richard Cumley's business card.
Very nice.
And a magnet.
Very, very cool. For those out there who are not familiar with Richard Cumley's work, he created a character called Captain Canuck in 1975.
Yeah.
That has become the most recognized Canadian superhero in Canada, made by a Canadian, as opposed to a Wolverine, who we all know is made by an American. So
we also had a bookmarker and a postcard and a trading card, which I sent to Collect06, and I think I gave one to Matt. So this was the last of it they had. These were all autographed by Richard Cumley, so I'll just put them all together in the bag. And then I'll show you the comic books from 1975, I think, to about 1981. This one was the first summer special of Captain Canuck, and this one was they're all autographed. I'm not going to repeat it 18 times, but this is just one of the covers. I thought I'd show it. I haven't shown it anywhere else, and nobody in my family is interested in this stuff. So sorry. This one's issue number 14.
Very nice.
And number
If you
30.
don't mind, I'm going to take a second to answer Archivist Adrift's question.
Okay.
Do Canadians especially like Alpha Flight? I've always liked Puck.
Oh, yeah.
I
remember.
like it a lot. What my biggest problem is like I was very proud of the fact that John Byrne was Canadian,
Hmm.
but and here's my but. He was born in Britain, grew up in Calgary, and moved to the United States. And my understanding is that he's now an American citizen and he's kept his British citizenship, which means he's no longer a Canadian by law, which is too bad.
Well, Richard Cumley was also born in England, and he was born there, I think, 1950, 1953, moved to Canada, became a citizen, and as far as I know, he's still in Canada. This one here is number 13.
Nice.
And then they also had them in French. And there was the print run was, I think, 7,000 or 8,000. I only have a few of them. They're really hard. Maybe Comic Mike probably has some in his collection of the Captain Canuck in French. I have a couple. I didn't dig them out because this is just the stuff I picked up on my LCS. This one's number 12.
Nice.
And the number one of this, when it first came out in 1975, was polybagged, and I have that one as well somewhere.
You are actually showing a large number of Captain Canuck books that I haven't seen. I've seen issues. Yes, I've seen issues 1 to 7 everywhere. After that, they really dried up.
Number 11.
Okay, I've seen that one. That one I will say I've seen that. I used to. Sorry, I have a question, Stephen, I used to have Captain Canuck, but I don't anymore. I had it in my first collection, and I haven't, to be honest, haven't been able. It's one of those ones that if I find it, I'll pick it up, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they're really hard to find. So I'll show you when I get down to number 1 there, Stephen. I have the polybagged comic of Captain Canuck from 1975, but it's not signed. But if you'd like to have it, I can send it to you. This one's Captain Canuck number 10.
That's one I don't remember seeing before.
And number 9.
What do you think, Lyle? Archivist Adrift is asking, does the paper on those Captain Canucks feel cheaper? I know the Superior books from the Golden Age are real thin paper.
Yeah,
I would say from my memory that it was no different than the regular comic books that were being done in the 70s.
Well, that's right. I mean, the Golden Age stuff of the Canadian books and papers is bad. It's probably even worse than the Charlton paper. It's really bad. We gotta have some Canadian editions, and the paper is just, I don't know. It's sad. So this one is number 8. All right, Stephen, then you'll get it. I know where it is, and I'll let you know when I mail it off.
Yeah, I had that one that you just held up. I had that one. Yes, I recognize
number 8.
Yeah,
this one was number 7.
Yeah, that one I don't recognize. So I guess I had 6, 1 to 6, and then 8.
This was from 1979.
Yeah.
This one is number 6.
Nice. Yeah. See, I had that one. That was pretty. That is probably, if I remember the story correctly, probably one of the better written ones of the series after number 1.
Number 5.
Nice.
Number 4.
Very good.
Yeah, I like. They don't,
yeah, that one was actually given to me as a birthday present by a friend.
And this one's number 3.
Yep, I remember that one. I my mom didn't like that because it looked like a woman was getting beaten.
And number 2. Also, number 2. It came with the posters in the back.
Very cool. I didn't have the poster.
Yeah, they're hard to find with the poster.
Yeah.
And number one is number
Yeah.
one.
Who doesn't love number one? At least
So
in Canada.
the other one that Stephen will get is polybagged. Unfortunately, it's not signed, but you don't know. Maybe I'll send you this one, and I'll keep polybag one. I don't know. We'll have a discussion.
Hi,
All right.
Christina. It's good to see you in the show.
So, and also from my LCS, for the Captain Canuck, they also had. Let's see if I can. They had some posters that were numbered. They're two different kind of posters. This one was number 62 of 250.
Beautiful poster.
Right. So one says never with President Trump.
Yes. I think that's a recent one.
And the other one said, which was number 67 of 250. It doesn't say never. It says nope.
I like how they've changed it.
Yeah. So those two I have, and I did send one to Matt, but he hasn't opened it yet. So.
Oh, I did open it. I looked at
Oh.
it. It's fantastic. I put it back in the tube because I don't have a place to put it yet.
That's all good. So
The
also,
tube is protected.
I'm just reading some of the messages here. Yeah, so a couple of more that I got from that estate sale. They're nothing big, but I didn't want to leave them behind because I knew full well they're going to end up in the garbage. There's one is Trinity.
Trinity, yes. Now, that's DC, but is that the Trinity that has? That's not the Trinity of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. That's
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
And then there was Trinity number 1 that was there as well.
Yeah, I think that's what this is, the one with the religious bent.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And
Six wants to know what was Captain Canuck's powers and weaknesses.
he had no powers.
Yeah, he was powerless. He was more of a symbol, and if anything, he was more like Captain America.
Right. And his weaknesses, well, he probably got his ass handed to him a few times.
Oh, more than a few times. In issue 4, I remember he got beaten pretty badly.
And another one from that estate sale. It's not big, but I've seen that you're a Superman fan. This one's Action Comics Weekly.
Nice.
I know that.
Great cover.
Yeah.
Bringing back the old faster than a locomotive.
And then also another Action Comics Weekly was issue number 605.
Yep, the Dead Man cover. Very nice.
I always did like Dead Man. And then they had a year 1 Detective Comics Batman 1995 annual. This one, the guy just threw it in the box. I said, well, I'm not.
Look at the Riddler.
Leave that behind. Yeah, the cover was by P. Craig Russell and Kyron Dwyer. He had 3/4 power.
Oh, very nice. Before we get too much further, what I liked about the Action Comics Weekly, although I felt the quality of the book is not what it should be, at least it went back to its roots as an anthology title for a while, with it having 5 or 6 different features.
Right. So also when I picked up my LCS this week, because Nate had seen it a few.
Impressive, J Boxer.
Oh, excellent. Was that I was told I needed to pick up because there was Bane was in it. Was Absolute Batman number 9. So this is cover F.
Nice. That's a good looking one. I don't know how people are keeping up with the Absolute.
I don't know
the amount of different covers and the amount of different.
Cover C.
Wow. That's nice.
I try and get all the variants, but they don't always show up at my LCS. This one's cover B.
Cool. The spikes give it a very interesting look.
Mm-hmm. And then they threw in, like, we have boxes at our LCS if you want something, you want to pick it up later. I had 4 copies of this one.
That's the cover A, I believe, eh?
Cover A, yeah. I have 4 of them. So, what else would you like me to show?
Anything you want. This is your show.
Oh, well,
I'm
okay.
here just to.
So, a few years ago, I saw this. I like to buy a lot of British stuff, and some people like it, some people don't. And I saw this hard-covered book from the UK that I liked the design, and it was like 1920s, 30s type of crime and stories and whatnot. And so I waited. So I bought it in 2022 during COVID, and so I waited 3 years before this thing came in. It just came in here not long ago, and it's called The Shift. Still sealed. I haven't opened it up, but this is the cover.
Nice looking. That looks really good.
Yearbook 2022, and the back cover.
Oh, that's brilliant. I like the woman in front there that's shooting the gun.
And it came with some other stuff like 2022, The Shift, Simon Furman script book, which I didn't take it out because I waited so long for it. I didn't think that I was going to get it. And what the problem was, it was supposed to come. This book was supposed to come with a slipcase, and whoever the contract that they had to make the slipcase, I think the first shipment they got, the slipcases were broke, and so they told us that they had to send some back, and they had to wait, and I waited quite a while, and then I didn't hear anything for the longest time. So I sent them another email, and they said, "Oh, we thought we had sent you this one." So I didn't receive diddly. So they sent me a book here a few weeks ago, and again, it came with the script book, so I was pretty happy with that. When you buy something and you wait 3 years, you're figuring, well, I'm not going to get it, right? So anyway, I did show these a few days ago, but I'll show them again if you don't mind, because everybody.
I wasn't there on Friday, so
you weren't, like a lot of the people that are here. I don't think were watching the live stream. Well, some were, but some of your guests or your chat, I don't remember their names. Well, so there was the Web Spider-Man Annual #1. This is the Canadian variant.
Nice
Newsstand.
Nice.
And there's a character here, a comic character. I have no idea. The book is from Vertigo. It's #1 of 4. It's called Accelerate.
Vertigo. I've heard the name.
Yeah, I haven't even.
I have not read the book.
No, neither have I. Not yet. I got too much to read right now. And Baron Werewolf's Haunted Library. I like the cover. I was at that estate sale that I picked this up.
Nice.
And I didn't have this one in my collection, but it was such good shape for a Charlton that I picked it up.
I love Charlton. I really am. I go to a show. Every time I go to a show, I say to myself, I'm going to pick up 2 or 3 Charlton books.
Yeah.
And every time I walk out of the show, I went, damn, I didn't get any Charlton books.
No.
Because I get so into what's in the dollar bins that, here's a Superman I don't have, or look, here's a Batman, that I end up broke before I get to the point where I say, okay, now it's time to look for Charlton.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of those, but sometime when you have me back on a show, I'll dig out some Charlton and I'll show them, because there are some people that I've been watching on different channels that sometimes watch your stream, and Alan's that collect Charlton, and
Mark over in England, for those that don't know Suddenly Comics, he's been showing a lot of Bronze Age horror lately, and a lot of them have been titles like The Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves and all these other ones that were from Charlton. And I really think that if you like Charlton and if you like Bronze Age horror, you should check out Suddenly Comics. Mark
Yeah,
Holroyd.
he has a great channel. Really good. Great stuff.
Hi, Nate.
And I'd love to start over, Hall, yeah, but I'm on Matt's time. And so I showed this on Friday, but because I have a lot of friends that are near retirement that are firemen here in town, I like fireman covers. This one's called Ash, the Fire Within, #1 from 1996. So
Ash the Fireman.
Yeah, Joe
Okay.
Quesada art.
Joe Quesada.
Yes.
One of the worst things that he did was become the editor-in-chief at Marvel. And I say that because that meant his output was a lot less, and he's a great artist. I
like it. When I saw that, like, it was $1. The fella that at that estate sale, he's saying, those boxes you're buying, he says, nobody's interested in this stuff. Pick it up. So I'm like, well, I'm planning on not buying 150 long boxes, but quite a bit. And then another that they had was the Action Comics Weekly. This one was number 619, Another Dead Man. I showed that on Friday.
Dead Man. You've now shown 2 of the 4 Dead Man covers from that.
I love it. I don't come across them very often, and so I'll show you. Also,
JSS has a question. He says, "I have that in black and white. What is that book?"
It's in black and white. The also in that estate sale, I'd show this as well. I just like where, when you buy some books where you have the UPC codes or in the lower left corner, or opposite side. This one here is appropriately placed. I noticed that the other day. I'm like, wow, that's.
Oh my God, I must have this book.
So this one here is Lobo's Big Babe Spring Break Special. It's spring of 1995.
Yes. And I think there's a few people out there not watching tonight that would really enjoy that book.
I saw that. I'm like, I mean, I showed it on Friday, last Friday on Allen's, but I'd never even picked up on it till after the show was done. I'm like, I should have mentioned about the UPC code.
Big Nasty says he has that.
Yeah, it's a nice cover. I remember, I think you had shown it on one of your live streams there, Big Nasty, and I didn't pick it up because you had it. It was all in the lot, right? So this one's from 1993. It's #1. It's also a Lobo, but they call it the Convention Special.
Nice. And that's a good homage to all the old 80-page giants as well.
It's good. Yeah, this one's from 1992. I showed this. It's a Canadian comic book, but it's called the America's Comic Group, but it's called Pulp Horror.
Well, yes, I believe that is the new version of the ACG because they're taking the name from the old company.
It was there's a collection of tales, classic tales from the 1950s in this, which is some of the stories in here are from by Al Williamson, Frank Frazetta, Wally Wood, Joe Orlando.
So they are the reprints then. That's good.
So
I have to get some of those too. See, this is the problem I have, Lyle. Everything I see, I want.
Well, that's how that works, right? And you probably might like this. This is if Comic Mike is still here, he probably has in his collection. This is a French-Canadian comic from number 40 from June of 1986. I think you might have seen this already, Matt.
Yes, this is actually a reprint of a Supergirl issue.
Yeah.
This is Supergirl, I want to say 21. Could be 9.
Could be.
It's definitely from the Supergirl series. They just threw it in the Superman because they are together in the story. It's not like it's a
and I've shown this before, but let's say you have people in the chat, they may not have seen it. So Superman meets the Quick Bunny.
Yes.
This one's from 1986.
Biggie Shack is a big fan of this book.
Nestle Quick promo comic. Oh, is he?
Yes, He loves that book. He shows it quite often.
So he does have a copy, eh?
Yes, he does. He
perfect. Because I mean, if I come across another one and he didn't have it,
Yeah.
I'd get it. I'd send it off. And this is also another French comic. I've shown it before. Alan liked it. It's somewhat of a good girl, anthropomorphic. Good
Oh
girl.
yes, everybody loves the Mighty Mouse
Yeah.
girl. What's her
Yeah.
name? Rose or Penny?
Super souris.
Yeah, Super Souris.
That's right.
Bonjour,
We should.
bonjour.
We
Je
should.
m'appelle Super Souris.
And have you heard of this one before? Action Planets comic.
I've heard of it. Haven't. I've even seen this cover, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, I haven't read it either. All this stuff I'm showing you, like I want to read this one here, and
Yeah.
then that
A lot of books like the one you just shown, you
Yeah.
tend to see when you're dollar bin diving, and you see the cover and you go, "Oh, that's a cool cover," but I'm not interested in the stories. Like you end up flipping over them a lot.
So I showed this on Friday, and it's the first 30-cent cover priced issue of Boris Karloff.
Another series I'm actually I've got about half of them now. I'm actually have them on my list, and that's a priority for me to finish.
Yeah.
I love this series.
Number 71 from 1963. This one here.
Yeah. Are you sure that's not 73?
No, it's 1963. Well, Gold Key started in the early 60s.
Yeah, they started in 62, but that series didn't start until there was Gold Key, I thought.
No, the indicia says 1963.
Wow. Oh, that might have been the first series then. There might have been more than one. I'll have to check that.
And this one is a British comic. This one here is called Doomsday Plus One. There was a number 6, but it's a 10 pence. The cover art was done by John Byrne.
Yes, and it's Charlton.
And Charlton. I couldn't leave that one behind.
Nope.
You know, fighting Marines.
That's a good one. See, a couple of the Charlton books I do have I've got 3 or 4 issues of Fighting Marines and 2 issues of Fighting Army. Those are pretty nice.
And this one was done by Steve Ditko. It's called Mystery in Space, issue 116.
Yes, back when they were bringing it back briefly.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Thanks, NYC. Appreciate it. I could be here all day, just dig box after box after box. Also, in that estate sale I showed on last Friday, there are the Marvel 2-in-1s. I think
Again, another title that I'm actually actively trying to finish because I love the thing.
Number 20. I need 10 more to complete this set.
Nice.
Yeah.
Probably the first 10.
No, they're just randomly. I think they're in the late the 80s and the 90s.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of the 80s and 90s books. It's the as in those numbers. It's the earlier ones I'm having a hard time finding.
Number 38, not very often you get them in good condition. Usually the spine is all banged up and it's all chewed up by rats out of someone's garage.
I find that 70s Marvel, a lot of people collected them, but they didn't take care of them a lot. There's a lot of a lot of 70s Marvel that's in bad shape.
That's what my folks used to say. Oh, we'll buy you some books, but you better take care of them because if you don't, you're not getting any more, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a different time, right? All right, this one here is also Marvel 2-in-1, number 91.
Yes, that's one of the few ones from that era from the 80 up that I don't have. I think there's 3 of them I'm missing.
Oh well, you'll have to send me a list of what you're looking for. Number 92.
Yeah, The Thing in Jocasta. That is the other one that I've got. I've got 90, 93 to 100, and
right here, number 22.
All very nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
That one would be hard to say the title of, eh? The Thing in Thor. The Thing in Thor.
Yeah, I'm not even going to make a joke about that.
That's
The Thing in Hercules. This was a Marvel 2-in-1 special double-sized issue. It's a Canadian variant. Number 75.
Number 75. Good story. Good one.
Yeah. And number 59, and number 59.
59. You know what I like the best about the 2-in-1s when you had the Human Torch and the Thing? There's like 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
Is you get the 2 of them with their banter away from the other 2, so it gets even more awesome. It gets funny, and whoever's writing it is got the especially with Steve Englehart, he's got that whole thing down between the 2 of them with the trading of jokes and stuff.
Yeah. And this one's number 45.
Nice. That's one I don't have. But it's still only 35 cents.
30, still only 35 cents. And then Alan and Steven spoke about this one, that the cover resembled, I think, a Golden Age one with Submariner.
That's possible. I would believe them if they say that. But Iron Man is another one that the Thing, they seem to have a wacky back and forth, and I like it.
Yeah, Steven would have made the joke live, but so anyway, I showed this book on Friday, and when it was in, like, the boxes weren't in all that great a condition when I bought it, so all I saw from the book was like from here up, just below the price. I just about hollered out loud because it showed this one, but this was the facsimile, but all I could see was like here, right? And when I saw that it was number 31, I just went, oh my God. And I looked around. Yes. And when I dug it out.
Such a good, okay. Forget for a minute that 31 has one of the most iconic covers ever. Yeah. Forget for a minute that the Batcopter, Whirlybird, and the Bat Rope and the Batarang make its first appearances. Forget all that. The story in 31 and 32 was one of the best written early Batman stories overall.
Yeah. So when I saw that it was a $6.99, I just went, it was a facsimile. And, there was another one here you may not have seen. It was Marvel Superheroes Winter 1992.
Yes, I did watch the rebroadcast. So I mean
they're not big books, but they're in good condition or great condition. And I'm not one to say, well, I probably have 8 or 9 copies of this, and I don't need it. I'll pick it up.
You're always, I don't know. I'm always trying to upgrade at the same time. If I see a book I know I liked and I know I have it, if it looks better than the one I remember, I will pick it up and replace it.
Because these square bounds, like these giant size Avengers, this is a square bound. I mean, it's in, it's in good shape.
Bent if you can read the writing, it's in great shape.
Well, yeah, sure. So I don't know if you can see it there, but like it's not banged up or nothing. Where a lot of them are just like, oh boy, this is.
Like, take a look. If I may go up for a second here, I've got this Amazing Spider-Man that I actually picked up in the dollar bin here. And it is Legacy 900, but I could see why, because it's already starting to fray at the top. And,
that's right.
And I'm glad that I got it so that I know that I can stop that from continuing. But
well, it's
even today they're not in a condition that we can care for them easily. They still need to be
right.
Yeah.
And then the other one was Our Fighting Forces, issue 121. Is the first appearance of a character called Heller. And this one again was in good condition, so I didn't pay very much for it. It was from 1960.
No, it's 15 cents war. Our Fighting Forces. That stuff is so underrated.
Oh, you can buy this stuff for just cheap.
Yeah. Joe Kubert deserves, honestly, to get a medal made for him just for the art he has done for the armed forces over the years.
And it's not a key, but again, it's Charlton, number 35 from 1965, The Fighting Five.
The Fighting Five.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Because when I picked it up,
I saw a couple of that title at the last show I went to, just after I went broke and went, darn.
Yeah, pick them up. They're cheap. And I showed this one the other day, and when you have 4 or 5 people on the live stream, it's hard to know, because you make me big. I can't see anybody else. And I showed this book, and then I put it down, and Nate goes, "Oh, wait, put that book back up." So it was this one.
Yeah, I saw that part. That's
Yeah.
a very nice book. And I think that's the book we're going to end on, because
Okay,
we're coming up to
perfect.
50 minutes. And honestly, this has been a heck of a show. I have absolutely enjoyed myself tonight. You have just shown some wonderful books. You,
Thank you very
as
much.
always, the treasures you find out there, I'm amazed. And maybe it's the mountain air, but they seem to be in decent shape.
You
And
mean like this one? I love
wonder
where
if
they put that UPC code.
wouldn't it be fun to give that to Jason Momoa and say, "Sign this"? Plays Lobo in front
Can you
of
sign this, Mr. Momoa? He'd be like, yeah,
But
yes, Bud Root. I like Bud Root as well. Yes, very much.
before we head out, I just want to let everybody go watch Nate when we're done here. Okay, first of all.
Yep. I
Second
will.
of all, if you haven't yet made your picks for this, the comic book collectors award, the CBCA, take the time and do it.
Oops, sorry.
I would appreciate a nomination for most informative in my tier of 500 to 999. But you're not obligated. I'd appreciate it very much, but you don't have to. The key is that you go in and vote for who you like the most. And Comic Collector Geek for the Monday special, so Steven can win an award. Because Steven, more than anybody I know, really needs to
Yes.
win. If
He
you are
certainly
watching
does.
this on the rewind, thank you very much for taking time. Lyle, as always, has shown us some wonderful stuff. I'm amazed at what he can find and what he just buys, in bulk. And oh, look, here's Lobo with his pants off. Like I don't get it, but I think it's great.
I have the knack.
Also, you have the knack, eh? Do do
Yep.
do 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 do. Please join us next Tuesday night when my guest will be Kate from Kate's Comics on Instagram. But we are going to be doing the giveaway. I will be giving 6 prizes in total, as we managed to get Adam up to 100 subscribers while we were on last week.
Me.
So I put my money where my mouth is. I will give a 6th prize. I will be putting in the description for this video the video you need to go and enter the contest for the draw. The hashtag is I want that. And so if you haven't put it on yet, we will be drawing about 7:30 this time next week. Okay, during this show. I want to thank everybody who came out. Oh, hi, Bleeker. I just saw that you're here.
Can I just say something for a minute, Matt?
You can, of course.
So the next time you have me on, I'm going to show some stuff from the 1930s.
Oh boy, we're gonna move you up. I love 1930s stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody who joined us.
Stephen.
My name. I really appreciate everything. I appreciate Stephen and Big Nasty for their donations tonight. Their super chats. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. My name is Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.